Hello and welcome, I'm your host KB and you're watching a Retrospective Quick Hit. The show C.O.P.S, and I don't mean the more commonly known reality series, was an animated TV series produced by Deke Entertainment and aired from 1988 until 1989.
It's crime fighting time.
Like many animated series released in the 80s, C.O.P.S was based off a toy line by Hasbro called Cops and Crooks, which was also released in 1988.
The case of the big chase. Officer Roadblock grabbed the squad car to stop Cuckoo before he got away.
Set the barricade!
And Officer Taser brought the paddy wagon to blast Hyena. Cop, squad car, and paddy wagon sold separately with caps.
Like the animated series Mask, released in 1985, the show's title was an acronym which stood for Central Organization of Police Specialists, which kinda seems redundant seeing as we're just gonna call it C.O.P.S anyway, but that's the 80s for you. The spin on this series is the cops in question are a special task force who operate in the distant future of 2020. And as per the show's tagline, they're fighting crime in a future time. The show stars a cast of cops with aliases that remind me of G.I. Joe knockoffs, with names like Bulletproof Vest, Long Arm, and Mace. They're not really subtle on the cop theme. The generic style characters seems much cooler in their toy line form. Whereas here they just come across as over-the-top cop characters, which I guess is the point, but it still feels underwhelming. Our antagonists for this series are a gang led by the brilliantly named Big Boss, again with names like Berserko, Nightshade, and Dr. Bad Vibes. These are the typical goofy, bumbling villain tropes that you'd expect from a show of this era.
Hi, Uncle Boss! You make me proud to be a crook! And if you're listening, Agent Vest, yeah, 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 yeah.
The stories are typical crimes of the day, with episodes all having wacky case file names, such as The Case of the Cool Caveman and The Case of the Thieving Robots, which is a theme that sticks throughout the show's run. As you can tell from the episode titles, the storylines are silly, and while the writing isn't award-winning, they're still fun in a cheesy type of way. While the setting of 2020 is now only a couple of years away, it's fun for us to see what sort of future tech the writers envisioned for us having in the year 1988. But that's only something that can really be appreciated now, nearly 30 years after the show first aired. The animation here is really nice, and overall I feel the show is really well produced, but the character designs do look a bit bland, and I feel the characters are better presented in the toy line. I also feel the theme song for the show is quite underwhelming. The voice work for this show doesn't feature a lot of prominent voice actors, unlike many of the other shows I've covered. The leader of the cops and the main protagonist for the show is Baldwin P. Vest, known as Bulletproof, who's voiced by Ken Ryan, who's mostly done bit parts since. There are some notable actors, such as Peter Callaghan, who's more known for on-screen work, such as playing Lloyd Braun in Seinfeld. Overall, the show didn't fare too well, lasting for only one season, but 65 episodes were produced. All episodes have been released on DVD, which can be picked up for relatively cheap.
C.O.P.S, Central Organization of Police Specialists. Fighting crime in a future time.
As always, thanks for watching and supporting the show. Please head on over to our Facebook page as there's more fun stuff to check out there. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode of the Retrospective Quick Hit.